Dove cazzo è?
Linda, are you going to start?
I will when they give me a signal to start.
Okay.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back, everybody. Good to see you again for this last substantive session of the Social and Solidarity Economy Academy on Partnerships and Ecosystems. This session is titled Partnerships for an Inclusive and Sustainable Development, Social and Solidarity Economy, Ecosystems Beyond COVID-19. And it is my pleasure to welcome our moderator for today, Mr. Vic van Vuren. You've met him before. Mr. Vic van Vuren is the Director of the Enterprises Department of the ILO headquarters in Geneva. He is also the chair of the UN Task Force on Social and Solidarity Economy. Thank you again for being with us, Vic, here, and I give you the floor.
Thank you very much, Linda, and welcome everyone. I'm usually given this task because I've got a big voice, but I'm not necessarily the expert. And we've got some great experts on our panel today to talk on the topic that Linda's just introduced. We're going to have 3 videos during the course of today's session, and we have 4 panelists, and hopefully our 4th panelist will be joining us. There seems to be a linking problem. And I'd like to introduce the panelists, but first let me mention the 3 videos that we'll be hearing. The one will be from Mr. Marvin Rodriguez Cordero, the Vice President of the Government of Costa Rica. And the second video will be Mr. Zacharias da Costa, CPLP's Executive Secretary. And the third will be Ms. Yolanda Diaz, the second Vice President of the Government of Spain and Minister for Work and Social Economy. They will not be running consecutively. We'll have a video, then we'll have some of our experts' input. And let me introduce our live panelists. We have Mr.
Vamos
Vitor
voltar aos
Ramalho,
vídeos
General
por diante.
Secretary
Vou apresentar agora os nossos panelistas.
Speaking Capital Cities, UCCLA.
Aqui vocês vão poder ouvir, então.
Second is Ms. Antonella Neuer from the OECD,
Antonella,
who's a good friend of ours, and as well, all of, in fact, are good friends of the institutions we work in. And next will be Mr. Yvonne Poirier from RIPES, and lastly, Laurent Kwak from GSEF. So thank you very much for joining us and being part of our show today. So without any further ado, we're going to start with our first video, which will be the video from Mr. Marvin Rodriguez Cordero, Vice President of Costa Rica. And I now hand it back to the technicians to put the video on for us.
Del Gobierno de Portugal y a la Organización Internacional del Trabajo, y les externo mi agradecimiento por hacer posible la celebración de la 12ª edición de la Academia de Economía Social Solidaria. Aprovecho también la oportunidad para saludar a los equipos técnicos, personas expertas y participantes de esta 12ª Academia. Esta es una de las instancias más importantes para reunir a especialistas, académicos, líderes y representantes del sector de la economía asociativa, autoridades gubernamentales y de los organismos internacionales para analizar y reflexionar sobre las tendencias y necesidades del sector, pero también para construir redes de trabajo intersectorial. Por ello, me llena de orgullo el poder participar con ustedes, una vez más y durante este último día de actividades. La experiencia de nuestro país en el impulso de políticas públicas que impulsen la generación de prosperidad con justicia distributiva y responsabilidad ambiental, identificando en la economía social solidaria y sus distintas expresiones organizativas y empresariales uno de los instrumentos más poderosos para lograr este cometido. La temática que nos ocupa es de la mayor relevancia en la actual coyuntura y no es casual que la urgente transformación socioeconómica y ecológica de nuestro planeta aparezca ligado a la economía social solidaria, ya que si algo caracteriza a la economía asociativa es que se trata de una economía para la vida. No podemos hablar de una agenda global de desarrollo y de una economía que sitúen el centro a las personas sin que ello signifique, a su vez, posicionar la sostenibilidad ecosistémica en el centro de nuestros esfuerzos por lograr el desarrollo. Sharon Burrow, secretaria general de la Confederación Sindical Internacional, lo resume en una frase contundente: no habrá empleos en un planeta muerto. Esta frase es aplicable a todas nuestras actividades humanas. No habrá economía, desarrollo, prosperidad o justicia distributiva en un planeta muerto. La responsabilidad sobre la actual crisis sanitaria global recae sobre nosotros, los seres humanos, tras un manejo inadecuado, particularmente durante los últimos 200 años, de nuestra relación con la naturaleza y por haber interpretado erróneamente que el ser humano es el destinatario y el centro del desarrollo, cuando en realidad somos solo una pieza de un sistema complejo e interdependiente de ecosistemas. La pandemia del COVID-19 y la crisis socioeconómica derivada nos llaman a replantearnos urgentemente nuestra relación con el entorno natural, así como el fallido contrato socioambiental imperante. Pero la emergencia también ofrece la oportunidad de impulsar una reconstrucción más allá de una simple recuperación, así como nuevos modelos de producción y consumo que sepulten para siempre las prácticas perversas que condujeron a esta situación. En esta coyuntura, Costa Rica estima que la agenda ambiental es un valiosísimo vehículo para reconstruir sobre la base de modelos de desarrollo sostenible, con enfoque sistémico, generadores de bienestar para todas las personas. Ahora es el momento para permear a todos los sectores administrativos, productivos, los principios y valores de esta agenda, sin los cuales la reconstrucción económica no tiene sentido, pues sería volver a construir sobre un esquema fracasado. El esfuerzo por esta transformación verde requiere de la mayor ambición posible en el discurso, el compromiso y las acciones concretas, así como de la congruencia en la actuación de todo el aparato estatal y del acompañamiento de la empresa privada y la sociedad civil. Costa Rica aspira a que cada dólar destinado a la reconstrucción sea invertido con esa visión sostenible, independientemente de la materia a la que se destine el dinero. Tal posición es compartida y acompañada por socios como la Unión Europea y el Banco Mundial. Como parte de este enfoque sistémico de reconstrucción, Costa Rica se encuentra liderando junto a Francia la coalición de alta ambición por la naturaleza y la gente, una coalición de gobiernos comprometidos con el desarrollo sostenible, que aspira a proteger el 30% de los territorios continentales y oceánicos para el año 2030. En línea con las recomendaciones de la OCDE, Costa Rica se opone a cualquier subsidio a combustibles fósiles y en general a todo subsidio para actividades que perjudiquen los ecosistemas terrestres y marinos. Creemos firmemente que se debe promover la transformación de esos subsidios en incentivos verdes y de implementar cargas e impuestos a las actividades carbonizadas de forma escalonada pero ambiciosa. Debemos proponernos la reconversión total de la producción y consumo energético del planeta, sobre la base de fuentes de energía limpias y el impulso de la industria que hace uso eficiente de la energía para generar empleos y sustituir costos operativos. Las soluciones basadas en la naturaleza deben convertirse en parte esencial de nuestro discurso internacional y prácticas nacional. Debemos promover su extensiva implementación a toda escala y procurarles financiamiento. En el marco de las soluciones basadas en la naturaleza, la economía social solidaria posee un enorme potencial para impulsar las transformaciones necesarias. Ya lo ha hecho en campos como las energías limpias, el abastecimiento de agua potable y la participación en esquemas de manejo compartido del patrimonio natural del Estado. En las palabras de la maestra Ostrom, la economía social solidaria es un poderoso instrumento para evitar la tragedia de los comunes, involucrando a las comunidades y a las empresas asociativas en la gestión y aprovechamiento sostenible de los recursos, brindándoles incentivos tangibles para resguardar el acervo natural. En síntesis, la crisis actual es el momento propicio para impulsar una transformación de nuestros sistemas productivos desde una economía para la vida que asegure la protección de nuestro planeta. Solo así será posible situar a la persona en el centro. Y la economía social solidaria es quizá el mecanismo más idóneo para hacerlo. En tanto, conjuga ambos principios mediante modelos de negocios humanistas e innovadores.
Thank you very much to the Vice President of Costa Rica. And that is certainly a good link between the environment and SSE, because I think as we go forward, we need to make sure we don't operate in silos as we seek solutions to the global challenges. It's my great pleasure now, and it's an honor to introduce our first speaker, who will be Ms. Antonella Neuer from the OECD. Antonella, the floor is yours, but I'd like to ask you a question in introducing you as well, in that we know that SSE partnerships are so important, and what makes them particularly effective in times like COVID and these challenges that we face? The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Vic. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. So I would like to use my 5 minutes to present a kind of partnership that OECD knows very well, because it has helped, created, and implemented them. And these are the peer learning partnerships. And I think that at least the panelists, but maybe someone else in the audience, has already had the opportunity to listen about this partnership. So first of all, what is peer learning? Peer learning is indeed a very powerful way to stimulate collective thinking, to develop innovative solutions to many challenges, including those that have been just mentioned, and also to share knowledge and ideas. And the OECD, with the support of the European Commission, has created 6 peer learning partnerships. That is partnership in which many social economy actors are from different continents, from Europe, but also from Brazil, Mexico, India, United States, and so on, are getting together, including with other stakeholders, public sector, academic, and so on. And they have been created to work on specific issues which are very, very important and are, for instance, a legal framework for social economy, social impact measurement, how to adapt ecosystem, local ecosystem for social economy after the COVID crisis, and so on and so forth, internationalization, gender, and so on and so forth. And so through these 6 consortia, some 130 actors got together to discuss, and they worked through meeting, online meeting, bilateral opportunities, and so on and so forth. And they are at the end of their work now, and we are organizing an event next week, and I will put the link on the chat for you to register in case you want to hear from the result of this partnership. But what I would like to say now is what has made them effective, because this is the question you are asking, Victor. So paradoxically, I would like to say that if it is not COVID itself, of course, which has made this partnership effective, COVID continues to be really a strong motivation and a push for social economy organization to be active more than ever, because COVID itself has put the social economy under the spotlight and has made evident to everyone the important role that social economy has played. So having this said so, I think that this kind of peer learning partnership that we have contributed to create have been effective because there has been a whole global community that has been created in a time in which it is very difficult to travel, it is very difficult to meet together. So the creation of this open space in which everyone can gather, because they had to use technology, digital technology, of course, to meet, has been very important. And the notion itself of proximity has been very interpreter, because all these people working, a small social economy organization from Belgium has been able to keep discussing with Canada, Brazil, India. So the proximity has been rethought. And so this open space, it has become a space of virtual proximity. Second factor of effectiveness is, of course, the use of digital technology, and I maybe will develop a bit more on this later on. And then, of course, the fact that we pushed this partnership to produce concrete results. So they had an objective. They have an objective to stay together, and they had to shake their brain, to change their ideas, and to come up to the OECD with some concrete results, ideas on how to improve ecosystems. And they had the opportunity doing so also to discuss and to align the different idea understanding. And so I think this forced them also to be effective themselves. And I think that another element for their effectiveness is a motivational one, because now that they know well each other, even if the work with the OECD is ending, I think that they will want to remain together, and they will want to remain visible, and they will want to keep momentum for social economy and for the network themselves. I am done here.
Thank you very much, Antonella. That's great. I think to hear the practical examples and successes is something we don't do enough of. So we're moving from Europe, and I'm assuming, Yvonne, that you're in Canada. And so we'd like to ask you to address the same question about partnerships and what makes them particularly effective during these difficult times. And I understand that you'll be speaking in French, so please, those of you who are not sure, use of the interpretation services that are available. Over to you, Yvonne.
Merci, Vic. Je vais commencer en parlant d'exemples concrets de partenariat au niveau local. La deuxième série de questions, on pourra intervenir plus globalement. Je vais donner deux exemples de ce qui a été fait d'abord au Mali. Pendant la crise de COVID-19, l'ESS, des artisans maliens d'organisations de l'ESS, des coopératives et surtout des associations ont vraiment apporté beaucoup de solutions à travers la confection de produits à base de matières et matériaux locaux pour substituer aux importations. Par exemple, du savon et du gel hydroalcoolique, désinfectant des mains, des antibactériens, donc à base de qualité, de citron et autres plantes qui coûtent en moyenne 5 à 10 fois moins cher que les produits disponibles en pharmacie. Il y a aussi des équipements mécaniques de lavage de mains qui ne pouvaient même pas être importés à cause de prix élevé, donc ont été fabriqués localement par des gens de l'ESS. Il y a aussi des masques confectionnés à partir de matières textiles locales qui sont 10 fois moins chers que ceux importés. Concernant les masques, le déficit de matières premières locales a été résolu à travers des approvisionnements provenant des pays des membres de l'AES, donc du réseau africain. Donc, autrement dit, il n'y avait pas de textile au Mali, mais ils ont réussi à en chercher dans d'autres pays de l'Afrique de l'Ouest. Parce que les produits sur le marché mondial, ils sont en Bangladesh ou ailleurs. Il y a également des produits alimentaires transformés à base de céréales de grande consommation dont la distribution en période de couvre-feu et de semi-confinement a été possible, partout grâce au club de jeunes entrepreneurs ESS et le réseau malien RENAPES lui-même. Donc, c'est des exemples concrets de comment on a répondu aux besoins localement. Ensuite, un exemple concret en Inde. Il y a une organisation qui s'appelle ACEFA, qui est dans l'État du Tamil Nadu, dans le sud de l'Inde. L'association des villages comprend 10 000 villages avec des millions de personnes, environ 4 à 5 millions de personnes. Donc, ça existe depuis, ça a commencé en 1968, donc c'est une organisation qui a une longue histoire de construire le développement pour leur communauté. Donc, des exemples précis. Ils ont appuyé 2700 personnes en grande difficulté, principalement des femmes seules et personnes avec des handicaps physiques. Donc, ils ont apporté des soutiens financiers et autres. Dans 3 villages en particulier, dans une région, ils ont organisé des repas gratuits à domicile pour 120 familles pendant 155 jours. Les repas étaient fabriqués dans une cuisine collective et le coût de ce projet est 7,5 € par mois par personne. Donc, vous voyez un peu le niveau de vie dans cette région de l'Inde. Les écoles ont été fermées pendant 18 mois, y compris les écoles gérées par l'association, parce que l'association gère un certain nombre d'écoles elles-mêmes qui appartiennent à l'association. Donc, par exemple, ils ont mis en place un système où les téléphones mobiles, parce que dans chaque village, dans chaque famille, habituellement, il y a un téléphone. Donc, ils ont été capables d'instaurer l'utilisation de WhatsApp pour pouvoir avoir l'école à distance. Dans d'autres villages, il n'y avait pas du tout d'accès téléphonique ou pas de téléphone. Ils ont distribué des mini-pads qui ont été contribués par une multinationale en Inde. Donc, il y a des gens en Inde qui ont aidé. Dans une autre région, les fermiers ne pouvaient pas se déplacer à cause du confinement, donc ils devaient rester chez eux dans les villages. Donc, ils ont organisé une distribution de 27 000 arbres, 27 000 arbres, dont la plupart sont des arbres fruitiers qui produiront des fruits pour mettre sur le marché dans quelques années. Ils ont également établi un accès à un crédit d'urgence uniquement pour survivre. Ce n'est pas la microfinance elle-même. Plus récemment, avec le déconfinement progressif, ils ont organisé un microfinance pour recommencer des petits boulots, principalement pour les femmes, comme les vendeurs itinérants, etc. Merci. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yvonne. And that was great to hear from your perspective from within the REPES stable. We're now going to move across to South Korea. I'm assuming that's where you are, Laurent, in Seoul. And it's great to have you on board. And also, if you can give us some of your reflections on the effectiveness of the SSE organizations during this difficult time. Over to you, Laurent.
Thank you very much, Big. Good morning and afternoon to you all, speakers, participants, and organizers of the 12th edition of the Social Solidarity Economy Academy. Since 2020, the dramatic global context caused by the COVID-19 have shown us how fragile our territories can be, as its consequences have infected all spheres of our society and economy, more particularly aggravating the situations of people living in poverty and inequality. At the same time, we have seen so many cases of good and innovative practices of social solidarity economy through intercooperation of social economy enterprise and organizations who have acted to provide immediate and relevant social services to meet other needs of citizens, such as healthcare services, food shortages, loss of employment, unequal access to the basic needs, technologies, and digital transition and educational opportunities, etc. But for me, I can say the social solidarity economy partnership we know best through the GSEF network are the partnership between social solidarity economy organizations, enterprise, and local government, who have responded in partnership and collectively to the COVID-19 crisis. And thanks to their partnerships, the impact of their actions have been immediate, effective, and important to meet the critical needs of citizens, greatly contributing to develop conducive ecosystem for social solidarity economy, especially in countries where the legal and institutional frameworks and measures in favor of social solidarity economy are rather weak and non-existent. Some of our local government members, understanding the strength and role of social solidarity economy, have quickly implemented special and tailored support programs for social solidarity economy, working in partnership with local social solidarity economy organizations in the relief and prevention work to fight COVID-19 pandemic. For example, the city of Praia in Capo Verde entrusted social solidarity economy sectors and volunteers to implement emergency food basket delivery program to the vulnerable household. Ramses, the National Association of Local Government in Cameroon, implemented tax exemption program for youth and women social solidarity economy organizations. Many governments, city of Mondragon, Taipei City, Liverpool City, Seoul, Nouvelle-Aquitaine region of France, etc., also have provided financial support, subsidies, and new aid program for social solidarity economy organizations to reinforce their capacities to deliver better services. There are a number of local governments who have developed more extensive support measures for the social solidarity economy sectors. For example, City of Montreal, which has implemented 2 economic recovery plans in 2020 and 2021 to help social solidarity economy actors to recover from the impact of COVID-19. They have also presented Montreal 2030 strategic plan in December 2020, which is a strategic orientation for next 10 years for more resilient, green, and inclusive city, prioritizing the importance of developing a greener and more inclusive economy through supporting circular economy, social economy, local and eco-responsible facing, and the creation of new quality ecological jobs. So what makes social solidarity economy particularly effective in times of the COVID-19 crisis? I think that social solidarity economy has become the focal point for the social innovations, especially in times of crisis, as they take into account local needs, resources, and priorities to their business model in order to better respond to social needs. Social solidarity economy actors know very well about need of communities, capable to mobilize multiple resources and stakeholders as they put social and public missions before their private entrepreneurial needs, They are able to gather various stakeholders and supporters around their project, innovating their business model in a very flexible manner, as we have seen some even changed or stopped temporarily their business in order to respond to the urgent need of citizens. Social economy business models are unique in a number of ways, as they adopt inclusive and democratic governance principles, and they involve and empower diverse stakeholders in their decision-making process by facilitating informed decisions about economic and social impact. Social solidarity economy actors are locally anchored, strong in their expertise, understanding what works and what doesn't work in the local context. And so they are particularly well suited to respond quickly to issues that arise in their local areas by bringing their synergies towards an inclusive and sustainable development. Thank you. I think I will stop here and I will wait for the next question.
Thank you, Laurent, for that great input. Much appreciated. You know, one of the things that I've learned, and we're going to go into the next round of questions after the next video, is that in the last few years, being involved in the debate at the global level on the social and solidarity economy, is that when it comes to its potential, it must be one of the world's best kept secrets. I think we've got such huge potential in scaling up the work of social and solidarity economy players to the point that we can make a much bigger impact on these global challenges. We're now going to, or you might have wondered what's happened to our fourth speaker, Victor, from the, let me just get his title here, from the General Secretary of the Union of Portuguese-speaking Capital Cities. Unfortunately, he's had a problem linking in to the session, and if he does join, we will allow him to speak a little later, but we'll carry on with the program in the meantime. We're now going to go to our next video, which is going to be from the Honorable Zacharias da Costa, CPLP's Executive Secretary, which is the, I understand, the Community of Portuguese Language Countries is what it stands for. And so let's listen to the video.
Senhor Presidente da Cooperativa António Sérgio para a Economia Social, CASES, Senhora Diretora da OIT Lisboa, Doutora Mafalda Troncho, minhas senhoras e meus senhores, muito bom dia. É com muito gosto que participo nesta sessão de alto nível de mais uma edição da Academia de Economia Social e Solidária da OIT. Minhas senhoras e meus senhores, uma das consequências da pandemia do Covid-19 foi trazer à evidência as desigualdades socioeconómicas e os constrangimentos no acesso às mais diferentes tipologias de bens e serviços públicos de primeira necessidade. O Covid-19 expôs e exacerbou as desigualdades dentro e entre os países, situação que implicou que o impacto da pandemia afetasse desproporcionalmente as pessoas e grupos mais vulneráveis. Em face dessa realidade, a comunidade dos países de língua portuguesa defende a necessidade urgente de fortalecer o multilateralismo e a cooperação internacional num espírito de solidariedade global e responsabilidades partilhadas. A CPLP apela a que as respostas coletivas da comunidade internacional de curto, médio e longo prazo sejam guiadas pelo respeito de todos os direitos humanos, incluindo o direito ao desenvolvimento. Aliás, em linha com o apelo formulado pelo Secretário-Geral das Nações Unidas para a criação de um novo contrato social. A defesa e a promoção dos direitos humanos são valores perenes na agenda da CPLP e fundamentam o trabalho que desenvolvemos na promoção do desenvolvimento sustentável. E por isso, para a CPLP, não deixar ninguém para trás não é apenas a afirmação de um objetivo retórico da Agenda 2030 para o desenvolvimento sustentável. É um desígnio humanista que nos interpela a reforçar a observância desta agenda, particularmente no atual na atual conjuntura e no contexto pós-Covid. Minhas senhoras e meus senhores, tal como já referenciei, as consequências económicas e sociais da pandemia do Covid-19 podem reverter décadas de progresso na luta contra a pobreza e exacerbar as desigualdades já existentes. De acordo com o relatório de 2021 do Banco Mundial, lançado no passado dia 1 de outubro, a pandemia do Covid-19 devastou economias e agravou a desigualdade de milhões de pessoas em todo o mundo. De acordo com esse documento, em 2020, cerca de 100 milhões de pessoas foram empurradas para a pobreza extrema. Entre 720 a 800 milhões de pessoas sofreram com fome, mais 161 milhões do que em 2019. O encerramento de escolas retirou 1,6 mil milhões de alunos da escola, atrasando o seu processo educativo. As interrupções nos serviços de saúde fizeram com que muitas doenças não transmissíveis e evitáveis não fossem tratadas. E deu-se um incremento na violência baseada no género contra mulheres e meninas, sendo também elas quem perdeu mais empregos ou foi retirada da escola. Em face desta realidade, exige-se que possam ser repensadas as estruturas de política socioeconómica existentes a fim de reconstruir melhor no pós-pandemia. Para isso, haverá que reforçar o diálogo global sobre as formas de sair desta crise e construir sociedades mais inclusivas e equitativas, alinhando as estruturas de política com a visão e os objetivos abrangentes da Agenda 2030. Minhas senhoras e meus senhores, a propósito do que vimos referindo, creio que valerá a pena recordar o relatório Transição Socialmente Justa para o Desenvolvimento Sustentável, o papel das tecnologias digitais no desenvolvimento social e bem-estar de todos, de 23 de novembro de 2020, no qual o Secretário-Geral das Nações Unidas aborda a necessidade de uma transição socialmente justa para uma forma mais inclusiva, equitativa e resiliente e desenvolvimento sustentável. Nesse documento, o Secretário-Geral evidencia a necessidade de prestar especial atenção aos grupos e comunidades desfavorecidos, marginalizados e vulneráveis, mas também destaca que a economia social e solidária deve ser considerada como um modelo alternativo de crescimento que visa encontrar um equilíbrio entre a eficiência económica e a resiliência social e ambiental, capacitando os indivíduos através de um maior controlo sobre os processos de tomada de decisão e recursos. A economia social e solidária fomenta o dinamismo económico, a proteção socioambiental e empoderamento sociopolítico. Creio, portanto, que no contexto da Agenda 2030 para o Desenvolvimento Sustentável se deve considerar a economia social e solidária como uma importante estratégia para melhorar o nosso mundo. Minhas senhoras e meus senhores, há cerca de 9 anos de concluirmos a Agenda 2030, abordar as interligações entre as dimensões social, económica e ambiental do desenvolvimento sustentável exigirá uma busca de uma transição socialmente justa que seja centrada nas pessoas e fundamentada nos princípios da justiça social. A economia social e solidária emerge como um impulsionador relevante neste caminho. E a CPLP encontra-se preparada para abraçar este desafio. Consideramos que o empoderamento económico e político de grupos vulneráveis, por via da economia social e solidária, poderá contribuir para a realização de uma ampla gama de direitos humanos e laborais. Esse desafio faz parte da nossa missão estatutária. Daria o exemplo da cooperação da CPLP, que, baseada numa estratégia de governação multinível e multiatores, promove intercâmbios de conhecimentos e adota uma visão transversal para a concretização das diversas estratégias setoriais. Várias das atividades acompanhadas pela CPLP em áreas como a segurança alimentar e nutricional e o combate ao trabalho infantil e o diálogo social tripartido são exemplos da forma como a nossa comunidade poderá promover uma visão de economia social e solidária. Permanecemos empenhados nesta visão e continuaremos a mobilizar as nossas redes e a avaliar o potencial de reforço de parcerias com os nossos observadores consultivos e o Fórum da Sociedade Civil da CPLP para promover estratégias de economia social e solidária que apoiem a CPLP a contribuir para a plena concretização da Agenda 2030 e dos Objetivos de Desenvolvimento Sustentável dela derivados. Muito obrigado pela vossa atenção.
Thank you to Zacharias da Costa for that video input, which was also extremely interesting and valuable for this discussion. I just want to point out that in the chat column, you'll see that Antonella Neuer put a link to the OECD event on peer learning partnerships, that you can find the link there. Also, thank you to Musa Al-Hassani for putting the example of Niger that is similar to that which is going on in Mali, and also to Rosabelle Garay, who pointed out the vulnerable groups and the youth and the micro enterprises and the importance of those groups in the discussion. I've got a few questions that I've noted. If we've got time, we'll come to those questions, but I would now like to go to the panelists again in the same order. And we've heard about these examples of SSE and the networks, but how can we improve these networks to further help contributing to an inclusive and sustainable development? You've heard me say that SSE is like the best kept secret for a little church of people that sees the value of it, but we don't take it any further. Antonella, let's hear from you.
Thank you very much. And Yvonne is totally right. But I think that since the last few years, thanks God, this secret is being spread. And of course, partnership have also a role in spreading it further. So this is a difficult question, Vic, how to improve existing networks. So out of the observation of some partnership that we have looked during the COVID period, but also, to be honest, looking more in depth into this peer learning partnership that we have contributed to create, I would say that what really could improve SSE's network, because most of them are local, but both local and international, like the panel that are represented in this, like the networks that are represented in this panel by Laurence and Yvonne. I think that what could make, in general, networks more effective, more impactful, so what could really improve them would be to connect social economy organizations to policymakers, connect social economy organizations to those kind of traditional business, because there is a gap to fill, and there is a way also for traditional business to learn from social economy organizations, to better understand what they could provide, and possibly then to develop even commercial partnership. There are great examples, for instance, of private business procuring services from social economy organizations. But these actors of the economy are not often linked. So partnership could be also a way to connect them. And obviously, I think that a way to improve existing or future social economy networks would be to connect them to international organizations such as OECD, and the peer learning partnership is a good practice on this. But even what we have done together, Vic, with the United Nations Task Force, which you lead, we were a small bunch of international organizations, and then we started to open up to a number of observers. And then we are creating a link also to make these actors closer to our organization, and therefore closer also to the policymakers. But I think that there are another couple of elements which are missing, and influencers are very important. Journalists are very important. So I think that it is important that SSE's networks try really to reach them, to reach out to these categories. And I would also suggest two other things. As I was mentioning before, we know a lot of national networks, and they are doing very well, and they are really important to address the national and local challenges. But now it is the right moment to internationalize social economy as a way to do business while having a very powerful impact on social challenges, environmental challenges. And so the way to do so could also be to connect these networks to global networks, so that the impact can multiply, and the models provided by the social economy can then be spread. And it is very difficult to do so, of course, but as I was mentioning in my previous intervention, technology is here to help. One does not necessarily want and need to travel from one part of the world to go to another part of the world. So helping these networks also to use more digital tools to develop this capacity to be able really to be wherever at the same time seems to me a good thing in order to help them to contribute better to inclusive and sustainable development. Thank you, Vic.
Thank you for that. And we welcome to the panel Mr. Vitor Ramalho. Mr. Ramalho, I'll get to you in a moment. I'm going to allow you just to listen to the next two respondents, and then I'll ask you to come in and give your input. So I'm going to go to Yvonne first, then to Laurent, then I'll go to you, Vitor, to give your response to this question. So Yvonne, you've heard the question. How can we improve existing SSE networks to further help contributing to this inclusive and sustainable development? Yvonne, you've got the floor.
Oui, merci. Les exemples que j'ai mentionnés tantôt, sorry, just a second, I had to remove the interpretation here because otherwise I'd hear myself. Sorry.
You just need to mute
I know.
Mute the original audio.
Yes, just a second. Just a second. OK, merci. Oui. Effectivement, les organisations, les exemples de tantôt démontrent que comment des organisations qui sont des grandes organisations avec beaucoup de membres qui représentent finalement des milliers de personnes, des centaines d'organisations, sont en mesure de répondre aux besoins fondamentaux des communautés. Des petites organisations isolées ont des limites parce que c'est difficile pour ces organisations de travailler avec l'État ou les municipalités ou même des agences internationales concernées. Mais ils sont également été capables d'avancer et répondre à des besoins parce qu'ils ont beaucoup de liens avec la société civile dont ils sont membres. Donc, ils sont reconnus comme étant importants par leur communauté. Il y a d'autres organisations de ce genre dans d'autres pays, dans beaucoup de pays même, qui répondent aux besoins fondamentaux des personnes, qui ne peuvent pas être répondus par le système néolibéral dans lequel on vit. Par exemple, la lutte à la pauvreté, une approche inclusive de toutes les personnes, de laisser personnes pour compte, l'équité du genre, l'avenir des jeunes, un système alimentaire pour et par des personnes dans les communautés, du logement, accès universel, santé et protection sociale. L'ESS, les organisations de l'ESS sont au cœur de cette approche, sans parler d'écologie parce que la production et l'économie de l'ESS est souvent locale ou régionale. Cependant, et pour avoir été personnellement impliqué dans les réseaux depuis longtemps, il y a des difficultés majeures. Entre autres, ils sont trop peu. Et la plupart du temps, manque de capacité. Les gouvernements ou la Banque mondiale ou les organisations de ce genre financent pas nécessairement les organisations comme les réseaux. Or, il est essentiel d'avoir des réseaux qui ont une capacité d'agir, de rassembler tous les acteurs de l'ESS dans leur pays, dans leur région de pays, dans leur province, dans leur État respectif. Quand c'est à ce niveau, c'est essentiel pour pouvoir négocier avec les pouvoirs publics, mais également avec des institutions internationales comme la Banque africaine de développement ou autres. Souvent, ces organisations sont très petites, même souvent, c'est des bénévoles, il y a très peu d'argent. Les membres au Mali n'ont pas la capacité de payer pour le fonctionnement du réseau malien, donc ils ont besoin des appuis extérieurs. Donc, pour l'instant, c'est extrêmement difficile d'aller chercher cet appui parce que les organisations internationales, on vit dans un monde où l'économie est majeure. Les organisations internationales financent des projets, des grands projets d'infrastructure qui ne sont pas nécessairement très utiles pour les pays concernés et encore moins pour les populations concernées. Donc, ça pour dire que et on peut démontrer également que l'ESS, c'est souvent des petites entreprises qui émergent, sur l'exemple du Mali ou d'ailleurs. Or, ça a besoin d'un accompagnement. C'est un fait connu, puis on peut le démontrer avec des exemples au Canada, que les petites entreprises de l'ESS qui émergent survivent 2 fois plus longtemps que les petites entreprises privées, les petites startups privées, parce qu'il y a l'accompagnement. Donc, c'est essentiel qu'il y ait des réseaux pour faire cette tâche. Et avec l'adoption d'une résolution de l'ONU l'an prochain, c'est essentiel de renforcer les capacités des organisations intermédiaires de l'ESS, les réseaux nationaux, parce que c'est au niveau des pays, les ODD et la résolution de l'ONU pourront se mettre en œuvre. Merci. Thank you.
Thank you, Yvonne, for that input. And I'm going to go straight on to save time to Laurent, and then I'll come to Vitor for the next comment. So over to you, Laurent.
Thank you very much, Vic. How to improve existing social solidarity economy networks? I would say first by listening to social solidarity economy actors to know better about their concerns and how better strengthen their capabilities in order to scale up their potentials based on their successes and failures. I think it's a critical time for government as well as other economic and political decision makers to engage in active dialogue on how to institutionalize collaboration with social solidarity economy stakeholders, and particularly with social solidarity economy networks, to reinforce their capacities to better leverage their potentials, to develop markets for social solidarity economy enterprise through public procurement, and also to build a nationwide and strong social solidarity economy networks to allow social solidarity economy to better engage in an institutional and political dialogue with government in the national economic strategies and build back better strategy from COVID-19 crisis. I believe that an institutional recognition and mechanism to better support social solidarity economy network is very important to improve existing social solidarity economy networks, but also it's very important to align all existing policies, good and innovative initiatives to support social solidarity economy networks, including legal and financial measures, in order to maximize their impact, especially to give a political and operational coherence at the national and international level. And I think this could be done not only by government, but also by UN agencies and intergovernmental organizations and international development agencies. That's why I think it is so important that ILO has decided to have a general discussion on social solidarity economy and the promotion of decent work at the 110th International Labour Conference in June 2022, as well as the current effort of UN Task Force for Social Solidarity Economy and some government to introduce a UN resolution on SSE at the 2022 UN General Assembly. I believe that it is equally important that local, regional, and national government to align their public policies in favor of not only promoting individual social enterprise, but particularly territorially based social solidarity economy networks to avoid policy incoherence. When it's needed, I think that those governments who are searching for or developing those legal and political frameworks should be accompanied by relevant UN agencies and international development organizations to make greater impact of their actions for the social solidarity economy networks. It is, I think, critical time to explore transformative capacities and potential of social solidarity economy that should be channeled more effectively through social solidarity economy networks, especially to lead a transitional process of our economy to be more sustainable and inclusive. I think the most important thing to do is to improve existing social solidarity economy network, especially by involving social solidarity actors in making all relevant policies and programs directed to them, and particularly to social solidarity economy networks, and co-create those relevant policies and programs with them, so that social solidarity economy stakeholders should be always part of those discussions and negotiations at all times. This is a sine qua non for us. One more thing that I think that can improve existing social solidarity economy network is probably to consolidate the training institutions and capacity building programs directed to social solidarity economy actors. So equally that we can reproduce the leaders and representative of social solidarity economy networks who are really capable in federating of the potentials and role of social solidarity economy actors and also sectors across the economy and society. I believe that it is a critical time for the social solidarity economy to be integrated into also educational curricula, not only from at the university level, but also from secondary school to institutions of higher education. So the general public can better understand about the role and importance of social solidarity economy and can support not only individual enterprise, but also general social solidarity economy networks, as well as ecosystem of social solidarity economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lohan. I'm now going to turn to Vitor. We're in the second question on the panel discussion regarding how do we improve existing SSE networks to help contribute to this inclusive and sustainable development. The floor is yours, and to make any other comments that you would have made in the introduction as well. So thank you for joining us, and you have the floor.
Antes de mais nada, queria pedir desculpa por entrar tardiamente, mas surgiu um impedimento de última hora e eu saúdo naturalmente esta iniciativa. Eu sou secretário-geral da União das Cidades Capitais de Língua Portuguesa, que é a mais antiga instituição no relacionamento com as cidades de todos os países de língua oficial portuguesa, a saber, cidades que envolvem países como a Guiné-Bissau, Cabo Verde, São Tomé e Príncipe, Angola, Moçambique, Brasil, Timor-Leste e, naturalmente, Portugal. Neste momento, existem 56 cidades que são associadas desta instituição, repito, a União das Cidades Capitais de Língua Portuguesa, e cerca de 20 entidades empresariais que apoiam esta instituição. Nós desenvolvemos uma atividade múltipla nas relações com as cidades dos países de língua oficial portuguesa. Para além das cidades dos países de língua oficial portuguesa, há a região administrativa especial de Macau, que desde a primeira hora, ou seja, desde 1985, data da Constituição, faz parte da nossa instituição. Isto porque, como sabem, a China considera que Macau é a porta de ligação com todos os países de língua oficial portuguesa e criou mesmo um fórum de cooperação com esses países que tem no secretariado representantes de cada um deles. Para além da região administrativa de Macau, há duas cidades de Espanha, concretamente Santiago de Compostela, que é uma cidade que é a capital da região administrativa da Galiza, da região autónoma da Galiza, que é também associada, e uma outra cidade, Olivença, que justificou e justifica-se as razões dessas adesões por efeito das relações históricas com Portugal e com o povo português. Postas as questões nestes termos, nós, em resultado da pandemia, que é o objeto fundamental destas intervenções, estabelecemos relações de grande proximidade com os municípios e com as pessoas que residem nos municípios das várias cidades. Que tipo de preocupações é que temos para estas respostas? Antes de mais nada, temos uma política para a educação para o desenvolvimento que atende a uma correlação entre a atividade das escolas de todos os nossos países e as crianças desses países. Damos muita atenção a isto porque, como 5 dos países das nossas cidades são países africanos, a idade média desses, a idade maioritária desses países africanos de língua portuguesa é muito baixa e alguns deles têm uma idade inferior a 18 anos da maioria da população. Isso levanta problemas delicados de desenvolvimento. Porquê? Porque as respostas ao desenvolvimento têm que assentar em políticas do futuro e esses jovens, a maioria da população, estão em idade escolar e, em muitos casos, são desviados para a atividade produtiva por razões de sobrevivência. Daí a nossa preocupação em políticas para a educação para o desenvolvimento, que desenvolvemos em muitos países com experiências diversificadas. Por exemplo, temos assente uma cooperação muito estreita com os municípios, as cidades de Cabo Verde, mas também de Moçambique, também da Guiné, também de Portugal, com objetivos diversificados, mas sempre nesta lógica da educação para o desenvolvimento. Neste momento, por exemplo, há uma cooperação a ser desenvolvida em Maputo, capital de Moçambique, neste domínio, mas também na ilha de Moçambique. Esta educação para o desenvolvimento, que atende às crianças e à sua formação e educação, procura responder também a preocupações que resultam das consequências da pandemia, uma vez que ela agravou profundamente as desigualdades no interior de cada país. E isso temos que ter em atenção. Como é que os fazemos? Por um lado, respondendo à proteção que é necessário dinamizar para bens de equipamento e bens que têm a ver com máscaras de proteção, em articulação com os municípios, com as câmaras municipais. Porquê? Porque a geminação dessas câmaras, ou seja, a relação bilateral entre câmaras importantes do ponto de vista financeiro, podem favorecer e favorecem estas parcerias. Portanto, no domínio das parcerias, isto está a ser feito, como está a ser feito respostas à política da educação. Nós nunca descuramos também a parte cultural. E, por exemplo, na pandemia, fizemos uma solicitação a todas as pessoas que são objeto de atenção pelas nossas redes sociais para contribuírem com textos que depois foram agrupados em livro no sentido das preocupações causadas pelas consequências da pandemia na pós-pandemia. E demos origem a um livro amplamente difundido que em todas as vertentes das atividades que desenvolvemos, no setor da educação, no apoio e proteção às consequências da pandemia e à prevenção dela, são consideradas. Naturalmente, a questão do trabalho é absolutamente fundamental. Qual é a preocupação que aí há? A economia informal dos países continentais europeus, menos nos países insulares e menos em Cabo Verde, a situação da economia informal destes países continentais africanos tem uma enorme relevância, um enorme peso. E por esse efeito, nós procuramos sensibilizar as entidades públicas, ou seja, os Estados, mas sobretudo também os municípios, as cidades, para concorrerem para que a legalização dessa economia informal, que não suscita a proteção da segurança social aos que dela dependem, seja valorizada na lógica da legalização. A percentagem é muito elevada, muitíssimo elevada, como todos sabem, e também isso é considerado nos países de língua oficial portuguesa. Este dado, a par com o agravamento do próprio desemprego na economia formal, na economia legalizada, é também uma preocupação nossa para preservarmos, tanto quanto possível, em termos de pandemia, respostas institucionais que garantam o apoio público, quer das autarquias, quer das entidades estatais propriamente dita, às pessoas mais desfavorecidas. Essas questões, que são consequência da pandemia e que colocam a salvaguarda da dignidade do trabalho e da economia informal e da formal como nossa preocupação, está presente nas respostas que a UCLA, a União das Cidades Capitais de Língua Portuguesa, procura dar. Como compreendem e sabem, a situação dos países africanos e das cidades africanas, quer em termos da maioria da juventude desses países, é muito diferente daquilo que se passa na Europa, em que a maioria da população é uma população já mais envelhecida, ou do que se passa no Brasil, em que as questões da demografia e da idade da demografia se colocam também a um nível mais elevado. Nós temos relações, portanto, com as cidades europeias, desde logo com Portugal, e as duas cidades espanholas, tal como no Brasil, a um nível diferente. Aí procuramos valorizar também os aspectos culturais na difusão da língua portuguesa, da própria cultura da lusofonia, ou seja, a cultura de todos os nossos países e, sobretudo, daquela que tem uma sustentação muito forte em países como o Brasil, em que é uma língua materna. A língua portuguesa, aliás, convém que se refira, para além de ser uma língua oficial em muitos desses países, no Brasil é uma língua materna e em parte dos países africanos já o é também, como em Cabo Verde, como devem compreender, ou está a evoluir de uma forma muito progressiva em Angola. E a língua portuguesa é, por isso, também um instrumento económico. É por isso que países emergentes, com um peso não negligenciável à escala planetária como a China, ergueu Macau como uma porta de ligação da China relativamente à língua portuguesa. E dotou, para terminar, e dotou essa instituição que criou o Fórum para a Implementação de Parcerias entre os países de língua portuguesa, melhor, entre as empresas de língua portuguesa, com um fundo muito significativo de 20 milhões de dólares. É neste quadro que nós desenvolvemos, neste momento, o combate à pandemia, tendo, por um lado, em vista as crianças, tendo em atenção os docentes, tendo em atenção a articulação direta com as escolas, com as direções dos municípios e nunca esquecendo a globalização com que este problema está em curso e cuja resposta é cada vez mais necessária. Tanto mais que, como sabem, ainda agora surgiu uma nova variante do vírus da pandemia, com origem na África do Sul, cuja gravidade parece ser significativa e que levou, aliás, um país europeu já a condicionar as viagens e até a receptividade de cidadãos que se desloquem para alguns países mais próximos da África do Sul, com este objetivo de condicionar, de proteger os cidadãos nesta mobilização global que nós hoje temos. Agradeço muito, peço a vossa audiência, peço mais uma vez desculpa pela minha tardia entrada que se deveu nesta sessão, que se deveu a um facto inesperado que eu próprio não contei e que me levou a ligar para o Sr. Presidente do Instituto António Sérgio a dar-lhe conta que iria fazer tudo para estar presente, como estou, num quadro diferente daquele que desejaria. Muito obrigado.
Thank you very much, Vitor, for your input. That is really welcome. And you raised the point of the variant of the virus in South Africa. Well, I'm a South African, and we like being creative, but not in this way that we get a new variant.
I know.
And but now the sad thing for me is my family were coming to visit me at Christmas, and I get informed today the flights have been stopped. So that's the world we live in now. So I'll have to rely on a virtual meeting with them. Anyway, let's get on to further business. We're now going to listen to a video by the Honorable Yolanda Diaz, the second Vice President of the Government of Spain and Minister for Work and Social Economy. So over to the technicians.
Buenas tardes a todos y a todas. Me gustaría agradecer la invitación de la OIT a participar en esta edición de la Academia de Economía Social y Solidaria, así como al Gobierno de la República Portuguesa por organizar este encuentro en el marco de su presidencia del Comité de Seguimiento de la Declaración de Luxemburgo. Creo que esta iniciativa está contribuyendo a difundir y mejorar la comprensión del concepto de economía social y solidaria, así como a reforzar su impacto al estrechar lazos entre actores de distintos países. En este sentido, en un contexto como el actual de salida de la crisis económica producida por la COVID-19, celebro la oportunidad que se me brinda hoy en este panel para compartir y aprender de otros países y continuar apoyando a la economía social y solidaria. Precisamente, si algo ha demostrado la pandemia es la necesidad de articular un nuevo modelo de producción más inclusivo y sostenible, que ponga en el centro a las personas. Justo es eso lo que defienden y hacen en su día a día las diversas entidades que integran la economía social y solidaria. Por ello, en España hemos apostado con firmeza por este modelo, impulsando su participación en el Plan de Recuperación, Transformación y Resiliencia, así como implicándonos en el apoyo al sector en los foros internacionales. Generar alianzas que fomenten el modelo es fundamental para su éxito y por ello me gustaría repasar algunas de las iniciativas y proyectos en los que mi país está implicado. Participación con la que creemos que estamos asentando un modelo de transformación social liderado por la economía social y solidaria. En primer lugar, quisiera referirme como antecedente a la celebración de esta Academia de la OIT en Madrid en su edición del 19, organizada por la OIT, este Ministerio y CEPES. Aquella edición concluyó con la firma de un manifiesto en el que se mostraba la apuesta decidida por la economía social y solidaria como modelo inclusivo, socialmente innovador, sostenible y que afianza el modelo social y los estados del bienestar. En segundo lugar, y aprovechando la organización de la Academia por parte de Portugal, me gustaría mencionar nuestro papel activo en el Comité de Seguimiento de la Declaración de Luxemburgo. Desde que se pusiera en marcha hemos estado muy implicadas, pudiendo destacar la presidencia que ostentamos durante el pasado año 2020 y que materializamos en una agenda bien nutrida de eventos en Toledo, capital europea de la economía social. Así concluimos el ejercicio de la presidencia con la Declaración de Toledo, donde pusimos en valor todos los antecedentes de declaraciones del Comité de Seguimiento que han ido llevando a una consolidación de la economía social y solidaria. El ejercicio de la presidencia en 2020 fue difícil debido a las circunstancias sanitarias, pero logramos, sin embargo, aumentar la presencia de países participantes en el comité. La labor realizada por Portugal en este año ha continuado en ese camino, con la declaración de Cascais como nuevo documento que nos permite visualizar una hoja de ruta común a seguir y que a buen seguro se continuará en la próxima presidencia del año 2022 ejercida por Italia. Desde el comité estaremos pendientes de la inminente aprobación y posterior seguimiento del Plan de Acción Europeo de Economía Social, un hecho trascendental para el sector que por primera vez va a tener un documento estratégico a nivel de la Unión Europea. Por otro lado, en el marco de esta presidencia de Portugal, nuestros países han firmado un memorando de entendimiento, otra de las líneas en las que trabajamos para fomentar alianzas y que hemos suscrito también con otros países. Precisamente en ese memorando, con Portugal, incidimos en la importancia de colaborar, de generar alianzas, sinergias que nos faciliten progresar. La colaboración es precisamente uno de esos valores que se insertan dentro del ADN de las empresas de la economía social y solidaria. Juntos y juntas somos más fuertes y por ello nos emplazábamos a llevar la economía social y solidaria a las próximas cumbres iberoamericanas, tendiendo puentes y estrategias comunes. Finalmente, y para concluir, destacaría otra alianza en la que trabajamos y que nos lleva a otra región, la Unión por el Mediterráneo. Se trata de un foro que nos une con los países de nuestro entorno y nos aporta así perspectivas muy diversas al combinar países de distintos continentes. Recientemente se celebró el taller de Economía Social de la Unión por el Mediterráneo, donde pudimos compartir experiencias con países como Portugal, Marruecos, Túnez, Francia, Argelia, Italia o Turquía y aprender de todos ellos. En definitiva, un conjunto de foros y espacios que nos posibilita avanzar y potenciar a la economía social y solidaria, tejiendo a nivel global alianzas fundamentales para que el sector se extienda cada vez más. Considero que ha llegado el momento de dar un salto de escala con el objetivo de construir un modelo económico a la medida de las personas, con la economía social y solidaria como referente, un modelo más justo e inclusivo, más sostenible social y medioambientalmente. Nada más, solo deseo agradecer de nuevo la invitación a participar en este acto y la organización de esta edición de la Academia por parte de la OIT y Portugal. Vuestra labor en la difusión del sector es un verdadero modelo a seguir. Muchas gracias, muito obrigada.
Thank you to Yolanda Diaz, the second Vice President of the Government of Spain. We now have a number of questions that have come up in the chat column, and unfortunately we're not going to get to all of them. So I'm going to direct different questions to different panelists, and if you can keep your answers very short, then we see how many we can get to. So Antonella, I'm going to turn to you first. And one of the questions from Sabia Melody is that, in your experience during the pandemic, is the social enterprise properly meeting all of its environmental obligations? Do you think the SSE is playing a good role in that area. Your thoughts on this?
Not sure I get exactly the question.
Okay, during the pandemic, and we also see the environmental challenges and the pandemic itself. Are SSE enterprises coming up to deliver what they should be delivering, or is there a problem?
Well, from what we have observed, we said that we have seen that social enterprises and more in general social economy organization have really done miracles to continue to deliver in spite of having been obliged to quickly readjust their operational model. So I would say that in general, for some of them, they have been able to continue to deliver, including on the environmental challenges. We need to acknowledge, though, that for some of those organizations, they were heavily impacted by the financial constraints and for the fact that, for instance, they were not able to immediately sell their products on the market, and some of these organizations were experimenting huge difficulties, and for a number of them, they had to close their operations. So this is the general response I would provide.
Thank you. Yvonne, I'm going to turn to you, where there's a question from Dr. Ravichandran. And could you share the position, could you please share the position of cooperatives at the international level from the perspective of SSEs?
This varies, I'll speak in English this time. This varies from country to country and types of cooperatives. Some cooperatives, for example, the workers' cooperatives around the world are very, very close to SSE in most countries. In some other countries, it's not always the case. It depends a lot on the governance and the legislation concerning cooperatives. But there are many, for example, International Co-op Alliance, Asia Pacific, just published a paper where they stress the importance of SSE in their region. So it varies from cooperative to cooperative and country to country. In Canada, for example, cooperatives are part of the SSE global movement. In the United States, many cooperatives also are close to SSE. So it varies a lot because cooperatives, some of the cooperatives are very, very big. They have on the market competing the big capitalist corporations. So they have limits to what they can do. But in general, there's been, I find personally, that there's been a lot of progress in the last 5 or 10 years to reach out and link cooperatives to SSE. Thank you.
Thank you, Yvonne. I'm going to turn to you, Laurent. This is an interesting question regarding digital tools from Dr. Merrill Martin, saying that, you know, we've used the tools of WhatsApp, Google, and Zoom, which are commercial for profit only products and services. And in essence, don't we think it's time to turn to more user environmentally friendly digital tools that are more in line with the social and solidarity economy mandate? You know, isn't it time to walk the talk in this regard? It's a much longer question, but I've just tried to capture the gist of that. Laurent, what do you think?
Yes, thank you very much, Vic. Also, I spotted this question. Yes, I think it's a very important question raised by the participants, and I also think that it is an urgent task and relevant probably for some big social economy organizations or some even very intelligent and creative young social entrepreneurs to look at these issues. I think it is not an impossible task. like Wikipedia is a social enterprise which has started to, build a really global network of sharing information and knowledge. That I'm not a specialist in technology, so I cannot say, with more relevant response. But certainly, I think organizations like ILO or some UN agencies should look at these issues with some social solidarity economic enterprise and young entrepreneurs who have better talents in technology. And I think it is very important actually to develop some user friendly and especially user friendly for the developing countries, because there is a growing gap between developed countries and developing countries in terms of access to those technologies and global technological enterprise. I think even our organization, which has members in 36 countries, for each time when we are organizing webinars or international conference, and all our members in developing countries are following several hours with their handphones and mobile phones, and the accessibility to the connectivity and accessibility to information and knowledge are very limited for them. So I would say it's becoming a very urgent imperative for the public goods and public purposes. But unfortunately, I think it cannot be a task of an individual social enterprise or social entrepreneur. I think there should be some kind of alliance between some public organizations or international organizations and those social entrepreneurs and social enterprise. Let me just speak to respond also to first question that you have asked to OECD, the Antonella. Because I want to share this question from the experience of Korea. We have seen especially during the COVID-19 crisis in Korea, that the delivery industry has been so developed. So because of the packaging of those food deliveries and all kind of deliveries, that all the waste for the environmental concerns have increased and have tripled. And in Korea, it's quite interesting that that the question you have raised, whether the social enterprise and social organizations are responding or meeting this standard and these concerns from environmental perspective, I would say is extreme. I think most of social economy organizations, enterprise in Korea are very small and medium enterprise, and so they are not able to cope actually with these growing concerns despite of their values and commitment. But it's very interesting, the National Confederation of Consumer Cooperative have started to develop a different package systems and different delivery systems in order to reduce the environmental waste and also to increase the public awareness of environmental concerns. So actually that in the sector, which is dominated by big major capitalist conglomerates, that this Confederation of Consumer Cooperative are innovating their practice and business models and business practice, including ESG, environmental, social, and governance models. So I think it will be very interesting to document on those, very recent developed and innovative practice. Unfortunately, I think even in Korea that we do not have many literatures written in English and French or Spanish. Most of them are only available in Korean. But I'm sure that a lot of those innovative practices are developing at the ground level. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lahan. And we've come to the end of our session. It's been a very rich session, and thank you to our experts and to the video recordings for your time and for your expert input. And thank you to the participants and for the questions. And there's been a number of really good questions. Meryl, your question is one that we certainly need to take forward. in regards to the digitization and the role of the SSE. We need to see that we take up some key space in these areas as we go forward. And the same with green jobs. If we look at the whole role of where we're looking at growth in jobs in the future, it's about the environment, it's about green jobs. And we need to make sure that we don't get left behind in the new developments and discussions that are taking place. So thank you once again to all of you. Thank you to the organizers, to all the persons behind the scene, for the interpreters. Thank you. You've been great. It's always good to have good interpretation. And I've listened and tried to improve my French as we've gone along, interpreting the questions. So thank you to all of you. Do I hand back to you, Linda? And
thank you very much.
Right.
Thank you so much for your great facilitation, Vic van Vuren. Thank you for being with us this afternoon. Thank you, all the speakers of this wonderful panel, this wonderful discussion. And thank you above all for your great commitment to create a conducive environment for the social and solidarity economy. So thanks a lot. And dear participants, stay tuned. In just an hour, we are starting the final closing session of this academy. So see you then. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon here in Turin. Bon dia, buenos dias, bon après-midi, bonjour. It really depends where you are from, but well, in the meanwhile, you have you're used to this, not knowing exactly where and at what point we are online. This is the closing session. You won't believe it, after 2 weeks, and you know that these have been 2 very intense weeks, we are there. And well, I promise one thing, it will not be a very long closing session. It will be straight to the point, but it will be also a nice moment to see some elements together of these 2 weeks here. What we are going to do now is we're going to show you a very short video to start with, and then afterwards we are going to have 4 people saying some final words for this academy. I will afterwards tell you more about evaluation, certificates, and yes, I think that's about it. So let's to start with just show you some pictures of these last 2 weeks.
Em Portugal, a economia social, durante a pandemia, teve a capacidade de criar milhares de postos de trabalho.
We need to embed social values into business models so that our economies serve people and planet rather than exploit them.
Change your color according to your the language in which you will be following this academy.
Solo déjame decir una cosa final. Quiero invitar a los participantes a que participen.
The social and solidarity economy is not about survival. It's about providing opportunities for people to improve their lives and for their families and for societies.
All right, this is a challenge that I'm giving you. That's very well.
Olá, boa tarde a todos. Good afternoon, everyone.
Olá, boa tarde. Good afternoon, Gabriel.
Alors, il faut être conscient qu'il existe une multitude de définitions de l'économie sociale et solidaire.
So today, I would begin by sharing what women's economic empowerment means for us in the legal context.
En cómo por lo menos organizaciones como la nuestra, que es un sindicato, que es una organización de base, puede activar esta cooperación sur-sur, por medio de quién puede llegar a esa cooperação sur-sur.
Seguirão ou não sabemos. Certo é que já é orgulho receber elogios do treinador.
So we have to see the finance as a supporting tool, a supporting instrument.
Put a post-it with the key points, let's say the takeaways and lessons learned.
The need for comparable data, harmonized data, as you well noted, as well as internationally agreed upon impact indicators is also noted.
A segunda edição voltou aqui a tocar o tema das alterações climáticas como um tema urgente e emergente na discussão pública também.
Both in terms of, providing membership for workers, including refugees.
Dispomos de conjunto de normas que são perfeitamente claras e precisas.
Entonces, eso significa que la persona hay que tratarla como un ser humano.
Okay, so nice video. I got almost emotional here. I don't know what you are feeling about this. Yeah, so these were just some of these pictures, some of the moments that you lived. Yeah, and I think it also shows that we are at the end. Now I am just inviting our first speaker for this closing panel, not panel, it's just a closing session, Juan Hunt. He's at the ILO Geneva, and he is located also in the program, in the unit that promotes South-South and triangular cooperation. So Juan Hunt, thanks for being with us, and over to you for your closing words.
Bueno, es un placer estar aquí con todos vosotros para el cierre de esta sesión de la economía solidaria. Estimados colegas de CASES, autoridades de Portugal y colegas de la OIT, durante el transcurso de las pasadas sesiones sobre economía social y solidaria, hemos tenido la oportunidad de hablar, de discutir y compartir alrededor de esa idea de cómo la economía social y solidaria debe de estar integrada en la cooperación sur-sur. Y hemos también compartido y recibido de todos ustedes buenas prácticas en ese aspecto. La idea detrás de la cooperación, la idea que subyace la cooperación sur-sur, es que permite a los países, por un lado, interactuar horizontalmente promoviendo soluciones que son el resultado de un intercambio de habilidades, de recursos y de conocimientos técnicos. Y por otro lado, que promueve la solidaridad regional entre países con niveles de desarrollo similares. El modelo de cooperación sur-sur no sustituye, sino que complementa la dimensión norte y sur. Es decir, dimensión norte y sur y dimensión sur-sur son complementarias. Además, la declaración del centenario de la OIT llama a apoyar la economía social y solidaria de manera que ésta pueda generar trabajo decente y productivo y además mejorar las condiciones de vida de todos y de todas. Al mismo tiempo, la declaración hace énfasis en la expansión de la cooperación sur-sur en esta y en muchas otras áreas. En el marco de los principios de solidaridad y no condicionalidad, en la OIT consideramos la cooperación sur-sur y triangular como un enfoque compatible y de gran apoyo a la promoción de la agenda de trabajo decente. La cooperación sur-sur nos ayuda especialmente en materia de intercambio de conocimientos, de experiencias y de mejores prácticas. El desarrollo de capacidades, la transferencia de tecnología, incluso la movilización de recursos o capacitación a niveles de cadenas internacionales y de redes de innovación social son también componentes de este tipo de cooperación al desarrollo. Bajo este contexto, la cooperación sur-sur tiene el potencial de incentivar acciones guiadas a contribuir al avance de la economía social y solidaria basada en las características específicas de los países del sur. Y algunos puntos a resaltar dentro de esta son la finalización de acuerdos de cooperación sur-sur y cooperación triangular que tengan la dimensión de economía social y solidaria y de cooperativismo y dimensiones regionales. En segundo lugar, el refuerzo de las plataformas ya existentes de colaboración entre países del sur. Y por último, la creación y refuerzo de marcos legales que puedan apoyar la cooperación sur-sur. Sin embargo, sabemos que existen bastantes desafíos. Entre ellos se encuentran desafíos como la falta de comunicación y visibilidad sobre las acciones referidas a la economía social y solidaria o el desconocimiento en general o la falta de integración de canales de comunicación que sean fiables y fáciles de utilizar. Para combatir estos desafíos, la OIT, en cooperación con el Centro de Turín y con muchos de ustedes, ha establecido el South-South Point, el punto de encuentro sur-sur, como un centro de colección y diseminación de información eficaz y eficiente que ha ayudado a la colección de buenas prácticas en el área por parte de diferentes países con distintos niveles de desarrollo. Al mismo tiempo, durante la electiva sur-sur se desarrolló un plan de acciones que representa un importante avance al fortalecimiento de la cooperación sur-sur en relación a la economía social y solidaria. Este plan enumera acciones a corto, a mediano y a largo plazo, entre las que se encuentran a corto plazo la integración de la economía solidaria en las políticas sur-sur, la mayor divulgación y socialización general sobre la economía social y solidaria, ya que hay mucho desconocimiento sobre esto. En tercer lugar, la identificación de buenas prácticas de economía social y solidaria y el diagnóstico de necesidades. En cuarto lugar, establecimiento de un canal de comunicación sobre economía social y solidaria eficiente y seguro. También la organización de reuniones mensuales con los mandantes tripartitos, el aumentar la visibilidad de la economía social y solidaria y la cooperación sur-sur y triangular, y reforzar las sedes de la economía social y solidaria internacionales de la sociedad civil. En el mediano plazo, finalizar acuerdos de cooperación sur-sur y acuerdos triangulares que tengan la dimensión de la economía solidaria y de cooperativismo y dimensiones regionales, reforzar las plataformas existentes sobre cooperación sur-sur y cooperativismo solidario. En tercer lugar, la creación de los cuadros legales e institucionales para la economía social y solidaria. En quinto lugar, expandir la plataforma de la tarea de Naciones Unidas sobre economía solidaria en varias regiones. Y por último, avanzar en el enlace de financiación solidaria e innovadora con las organizaciones de economía solidaria. A largo plazo, se plantean temas como las empresas binacionales que hacen que la economía solidaria debería recibir exoneraciones fiscales y apoyo financiero, reducir la burocracia en los procesos de economía solidaria y diseminar ampliamente las buenas prácticas sur-sur y triangular de la economía social y solidaria. Con todo esto en mente, me gustaría una vez más agradecer el rico intercambio de conocimiento, experiencia y mejores prácticas de apoyo al desarrollo que se ha generado sobre este tema durante las últimas semanas. Por ejemplo, hemos escuchado con gran interés sobre el proyecto triangular de desarrollo rural sostenible mediante el enfoque de mejoramiento de la vida por los países latinoamericanos, que ha sido apoyado por Japón. Hemos escuchado también la cooperación sur-sur entre Bolivia, Perú y Brasil de apoyo a pueblos indígenas. Desde 2013 nuestro departamento de alianzas ha financiado becas también para estudiantes de economía solidaria del sur en todas las últimas academias de economía solidaria, un montante total que llega a casi $750.000 para permitir la participación de colegas del sur global. Y bajo este contexto, y para terminar, quiero incentivarlos a continuar, animarlos a continuar este intercambio utilizando las herramientas que se les han donado durante esta capacitación y utilizando el South-South Point promovido por la OIT u otras plataformas similares para compartir conocimientos. Muchas gracias a todos de parte de este departamento y de la OIT. Gracias.
Okay, thank you so much, Juan. And who now got interested or curious about South-South and triangular cooperation and social and solidarity economy, you know that you can go on the eCampus and there you find all these nice practices, the good practices, and yeah, just have a look at it. It is really there are really some really nice cases. So now we go over to CASES. You know that this academy has been, exists thanks to CASES Portugal. We have been starting talking to CASES already about a year ago, and then there is lots of preparations, weekly, daily, going towards this event. One of the people that has been in virtually all of these meetings is Carla Ventura. Carla is representing now CASES in this final closing. Carla, over to you.
Thank you, Martin. Good afternoon, buenas tardes, bonsoir e muito boa tarde. É muito bom poder cumprimentar-vos em português nesta academia. Para além de podermos partilhar as boas práticas e iniciativas desenvolvidas nas diferentes regiões do nosso clube, para além de podermos falar das mais recentes abordagens políticas e podermos debater temas considerados atuais e prioritários para a economia social, e dando nesta edição uma especial atenção ao papel da economia social numa recuperação centrada no ser humano e sensível ao planeta, uma economia social como ferramenta para reconstruir melhor a partir da pandemia Covid-19, poder fazê-lo em português foi também um dos motivos pelos quais a CASES se quis associar a esta iniciativa e torná-la possível. Nestes 10 dias, que sei que foram muito intensos e repletos de sessões intensivas, foram percorridos temas como os princípios e os valores essenciais da economia social, as principais tendências da economia social nas diferentes regiões, a contribuição da Agenda 2020, criação de trabalho decente, a importância dos instrumentos estatísticos, dos instrumentos financeiros, a cooperação sul-sul, juventude, educação, novas competências, igualdade de género, transição justa, economia social, economia circular, inclusão social, enfim, coesão social, só por referir com este descritivo, só por si é um bom indicador do trabalho intensivo que se fizeram nestas 2 semanas. Estão todos de parabéns. Chegaram ao fim desta academia, espero eu, cheios de ideias e vontades que deverão levar para os vossos países. A nós, a CASES Portugal, ficou-nos a pena e a tristeza de não vos poder receber pessoalmente e presencialmente nesta Lisboa hoje cheia de sol. Em Portugal, como em tantos outros países e regiões do mundo, a economia social e solidária tem vindo a crescer e a desenvolver-se. Representa hoje 6,1% do emprego remunerado do país e 3% do valor acrescentado bruto da economia nacional, e o número de entidades tem vindo a aumentar consistentemente. Foi estabelecido em Portugal um quadro jurídico comum para o setor, através da Lei de Bases da Economia Social, e o Portugal dispõe de um quadro institucional favorável à promoção e desenvolvimento deste setor de forma participativa. Temos um Conselho Nacional para a Economia Social, que é um órgão consultivo do Governo no domínio das estratégias de promoção e desenvolvimento da economia social. Temos a CASES, a entidade que represento, e que reúne numa mesma organização Estado e organizações representativas, ou seja, na nossa Assembleia Geral, sentam-se à mesma mesa o Estado e as organizações, e para além disso, e a partir de 2018, a Confederação Portuguesa da Economia Social, que é a estrutura representativa do setor e que tem precisamente como objetivo a promoção e a defesa da economia social. Para além das suas fronteiras nacionais, Portugal pôs em destaque a economia social durante a sua presidência do Conselho da União Europeia, que decorreu no primeiro semestre deste ano, bem como durante a presidência do Comitê de Acompanhamento da Declaração do Luxemburgo, que é um grupo de Estados-membros da União Europeia empenhados na promoção e desenvolvimento da economia social, presidência que termina no próximo mês, termina em dezembro. Temos dado atenção a estas 3 dimensões que acredito são essenciais para a definição de políticas públicas e, como tal, sendo essenciais para a definição de políticas públicas, são essenciais para a promoção e para o desenvolvimento da economia social. O conhecimento do setor, pelo seu próprio universo, mas também pelos outros setores e, sobretudo, pelos decisores políticos, e por isso temos investido na realização da Cota Satélite da Economia Social desde 2013, um quadro institucional sólido que garante a participação do setor na definição de políticas e primado também por uma agenda política nacional e internacional que leve em consideração a economia social. Há um ditado que provavelmente, se calhar não é de conhecimento de todos, mas que eu gosto de utilizar nesta situação, que diz que a mulher de César, para além de ser, deve parecer. O mesmo se passa com a economia social. O valor da economia social é real, é indiscutível, mas para além de ser real e indiscutível, e sem margens para dúvidas, um setor extremamente importante, deve dar a conhecer que o é. Dar a conhecer, divulgar, demonstrar, são peças fundamentais para a promoção deste setor, que como nenhum outro contribui para uma sociedade de facto mais justa. E são espaços como esta academia que possibilitam e facilitam este caminho. Foram cerca de 800 pessoas que quiseram participar, foram mais de 200 as que efetivamente conseguiram participar e fazer este percurso formativo, pessoas de 77 países diferentes, e que daqui levarão para esses 77 países, creio eu, todo o conhecimento e experiências que estas semanas proporcionaram. Cabe a cada um de vós agora, de nós, ser agente de disseminação dessas novas aprendizagens e das boas práticas que foram sendo partilhadas. Eu termino por aqui, mas não posso fazer antes de dar o meu muito obrigada a todos os palestrantes que aceitaram o convite para participar nesta academia, mas em particular à equipa da OIT e em particular à equipa do Centro de Formação de Turim, bem como à equipa da CASES, que esteve envolvida sempre desde o início neste projeto, os meus agradecimentos. Sem esta junção e estas sinergias, esta iniciativa não teria sido possível e sim, Martin, vou ter saudades das nossas reuniões semanais. Valeu bem a pena, muito obrigada a todos os que estiveram envolvidos. A vocês, os formandos da 12ª Academia da OIT sobre Economia Social e Solidária, as verdadeiras estrelas da Academia, a vocês todos os meus parabéns. A todos, muito obrigada.
Okay, thank you so much, Carla. Yes, we don't know what we're going to do next week if we don't talk to each other anymore. But what is true is that, well, we wanted to come to have this academy in Portugal. It was not possible, but with all the experiences that you showed during this academy, from statistics to the study visits, the virtual study visits, I think most of us really want to come to Portugal, and I think many of us will do so as soon as possible. Okay, thanks again. Yeah, and now we are gonna over to a person. I think it was the first person that you met in this academy in the opening. It is Mafalda Troncho, so it is the Ilo Director for Portugal. You can imagine her involvement in from the onset of the design of the academy until now the end. Thank you, Mafalda, for being with us. I would thank you also for being with us before the academy. That was the very important part. And now yours is the floor.
Thank you, Martin. Caras e caros participantes, representantes de governos e parceiros sociais e institucionais, estimados colegas de painel e demais representantes das instituições que aqui estão representadas e que colaboraram e contribuíram para a concretização desta muito bem-sucedida 12ª edição da Academia de Economia Social e Solidária, que agora chega ao fim. Todos nos acompanharam ao longo de 2 intensas semanas de reflexão e partilha de conhecimentos, experiências, testemunhos sobre ideias, projetos, políticas e práticas de economia social e solidária em tantos países e regiões do mundo. E, portanto, as minhas palavras em nome da OIT, em primeiro lugar, são para todas e todos vós. Eu quero também expressar o nosso agradecimento e apreço pela presença do Diretor-Geral da OIT e da Ministra do Trabalho, Solidariedade e Segurança Social de Portugal na nossa sessão de abertura e que que nos transmitiram palavras tão inspiradoras. Quero felicitar e agradecer à CASES, ao Departamento de Empresas da OIT e ao Centro Internacional de Formação da OIT em Turim, que colaboraram de forma tão intensa em conjunto, permitindo que esta academia acontecesse, mas sobretudo relembrando-nos da incontornabilidade das parcerias e dos valores da cooperação e da colaboração quando queremos alcançar interesses e objetivos comuns. Apesar de, como a Carla Ventura já nos ter dito, não ter sido possível uma edição presencial, eu acho que todos concordaremos que a CASES nos acolheu a todos e todas de forma muito calorosa, inexcedível, e garantindo que conseguíamos atingir os objetivos e tornar esta academia num grande sucesso. Agradeço ainda à CASES e também ao Ministério do Trabalho, Solidariedade e Segurança Social pelos recursos financeiros e humanos que alocaram a esta atividade e que permitiram que a mesma tivesse lugar. Este agradecimento é obviamente extensível aos demais doadores e patrocinadores que permitiram, apoiando esta academia, que ela chegasse a muito mais pessoas e que contribuísse para a capacitação destes participantes e das instituições que representam. E aqui também, se me permitem, um agradecimento particular à unidade que na OIT coordena a cooperação sul-sul e triangular e que já há 9 edições vem disponibilizando bolsas a participantes destas academias. Agradeço também aos oradores que participaram, pela excelência das suas comunicações que trouxeram, por terem partilhado experiências e conhecimento e sobretudo por nos terem ajudado a refletir sobre a forma constante e rápida como a realidade vem mudando e como é que isso traz imensos desafios a governos, empresas, trabalhadores, populações, comunidades, e como é que as políticas e soluções da economia social e solidária nos podem ajudar a fazer face a esses desafios. Um grande agradecimento também para moderadores e intérpretes que contribuíram de facto para que fosse possível esta reflexão em 4 línguas. Agradeço ainda a todas as entidades públicas e privadas que nos acompanharam, destacando aqui, obviamente, as organizações da economia social e solidária, mas também os parceiros sociais. E, de uma forma geral, um agradecimento muito sentido a todas as pessoas que estiveram envolvidas na organização concreta desta academia. São muitas e eu não posso fazê-lo nominalmente, mas a OIT está-lhes extremamente grata. A economia social e solidária é um tema muito caro à OIT e é um compromisso da organização desde a sua constituição. E independentemente da definição, das formas que vem assumindo ao longo do tempo, da sua dimensão e especificidades em função da região do globo onde estamos situados, as suas características, valores e diversidade têm demonstrado o seu importante papel e resiliência, especialmente em contextos de crise como esta que estamos a viver agora. Este ano a Academia quis dar um foco especial ao papel da economia social e solidária face aos desafios e oportunidades que nos estão a ser colocados por esta mudança transformativa e por esta pandemia global que estamos a viver. Creio que nos proporcionou um importante fórum de debate sobre o que é que podemos fazer melhor e qual o papel da economia social e solidária se queremos uma recuperação centrada nas pessoas e se queremos de facto a sustentabilidade do planeta. Esta Academia teve como alvo principal os constituintes tripartidos da OIT, os decisores políticos envolvidos em economia social e solidária, profissionais de instituições, parceiros de cooperação e desenvolvimento, organizações internacionais, empresários, trabalhadores deste setor e membros da Academia e investigadores, e eu acho que não falta ninguém. É que foi de facto uma aposta ganha e tivemos até a intenção o elevado interesse que despertou e nas centenas de candidaturas que recebemos para participar neste evento. A título de balanço e para terminar desta Academia, a principal ideia a reter, penso eu, é de que estamos perante importantes e rápidas transformações, num contexto muito desafiante, perante a necessidade de garantir a sustentabilidade económica e do planeta. Estamos perante desafios de criação de empregos dignos, de redução de pobreza e de exclusão social. E aqui a economia social e solidária pode dar um forte contributo. Este tipo de economia, mais centrada nas pessoas e sensível ao planeta, ajudar-nos-á certamente a enfrentar aqueles desafios que eu referi e constitui-se como importante recurso na retoma pós-pandemia, promovendo um desenvolvimento sustentável e inclusivo. Há uma grande vantagem das organizações deste setor e é que estão muito próximas das comunidades em que desenvolvem a sua atividade e isso permite-lhes, de facto, encontrar soluções inovadoras, abrangentes, que vão desde as mudanças ambientais até ao apoio concreto a grupos vulneráveis. E perante esta crise, os esforços de recuperação devem mobilizar diversos atores-chave económicos e sociais. E todos estes modelos e práticas que nos disponibilizam se complementam. Os modelos centrados no mutualismo e na solidariedade, combinando objetivos económicos, sociais e ambientais como os que a economia social e solidária nos oferece, constituem um recurso muito valioso. E eu acho que é por todas estas razões, e confirmando o crescente interesse dos parceiros tripartidos neste setor, que foi decidida a discussão geral sobre a economia social e solidária e o trabalho digno na Conferência Internacional de Trabalho do próximo ano. A este crescente interesse não é certamente alheio o trabalho que tantas organizações da economia social têm vindo a desenvolver conjuntamente com a OIT, um pouco por todo o mundo, e ao qual estas academias vieram dar enorme visibilidade. E esta 12ª Academia foi mais um bom exemplo e creio que um grande contributo para as reflexões do ano que vem na Conferência Internacional de Trabalho. Parabéns a todos e a todas e muito obrigada por me terem convidado.
Thank you so much, Mafalda. Listening to Carla and to Mafalda, one realizes how deeply rooted the social and solidarity economy is in Portugal and how heartfelt it is also. I think it's enough to listen to both of you and one understands it all. Okay, so now we go over to our the last person who is talking or closing officially this academy. He's Andreas Clemer. He's the Director of Training of the International Training Center of the ILO. Andreas, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Martin, and thanks, Mafalda, Carla, Juan, for your interventions. You said it all. I'll just add a bit from the ITC ILO angle here to wrap up. First, to reiterate a point that Mafalda made, and that was also raised by Juan, that for the ILO and for ITC ILO as a capacity development arm of the ILO, social and solidarity economy development is a strategic means of action to promote sustainable business practices and ultimately decent work and social justice. This is clearly a strategic activity, the social and solidarity economy. It has been and will continue to be, when you look at the ILO strategy framework and also the ITC ILO program and budget, we are in it for the long run. I think that's the message I would like to clearly convey here. I also see, and I'm very impressed when I go through the agenda of this academy, that clearly this discussion about social and solidarity economy development has also evolved. When I got first personally involved in this 20 years ago, it was mostly seen as an engine for employment creation. So the link between social and solidarity economy development and employment promotion. That was very evident. This is why the ILO was also getting involved. Then, however, over the years, you have seen this, this diamond starting to shine from different dimensions. This reference was made to the link between environmental sustainability and social and solidarity economy development. So this contribution that SSE can make to just transition, maybe for instance through the promotion of just one example, cooperatives that offer environmental services. There was also this link made earlier to the link between gender equality promotion and diversity, and the role that social and solidarity economies, enterprises or operators can play here. We have heard a bit less so, but also referenced during the closing ceremony, this link between social and solidarity economy development and social protection. That these organizations, these entities make a crucial contribution potentially also to facilitate access to social services, particularly in countries where maybe the role of government as a provider of social protection is less pronounced due to various reasons. We also heard from Juan this link between South-South cooperation and triangular cooperation, and how the SSE can make an important contribution here. So this discussion about social and solidarity economy development is clearly branching out into many different directions. And for the ILO, it also means where it used to make mainly a contribution to outcome 4. And if you would want to think in our own strategy framework now, it makes a contribution also to facilitate access for all to social protection, to the promotion of gender equality and diversity, and also to facilitation of South-South partnerships. Now, if you would ask me to look into the crystal ball and say, okay, so what's next? In 2022, 2023, my answer would be any of these trajectories will play an important role in this debate, including, of course, the first and original trajectory for the ILO, the link between SSE development and employment promotion. But I see another one coming, which I would just put on the table as maybe as a takeaway and for reflection. The link between, or the nexus maybe rather, between decent work, social and solidarity economy development, and digital transformation. This is an element that we have experienced here in ITC ILO over the last 2 years, because in a way we are a social enterprise, because we are an international organization, but that operates according to business principles in order to promote its mandate. And digital transformation has transformed the way ITC ILO is doing business. And I would say, without having to be looking into the future, I can assume that for most social and solidarity economy operators, the same observation applies. Digital technology has transformed the way you do your social business over recent years and accelerated by COVID-19. So the next topic for discussion could also be how SSE can make a contribution to the development of decent work in the digital economy. Just to give you one example, the link between social and solidarity economy development and digital inclusion. So how can we ensure through social and solidarity economy operators that nobody is left behind, you know, in this fast forward transformation that we are experiencing, but also how to harness digital technology to boost scale, impact, and sustainability of social and solidarity economy operators, so that digital technology can be an obstacle. You know, it is maybe there is a risk involved in terms of digital divide that could open up, but it's also a great opportunity if you can harness these technologies to foster the social development objectives of your own organization. So this is maybe an area for further exploration in the next edition of, at least as a learning track or as an elective of the Social and Solidarity Economy Academy. For now, I would like to thank everybody. A lot has already been said about the participants. I would like to again express my appreciation for your great interest in the subject, also including a closing ceremony where it's already late hours in Asia, and I still see 150 people in the call. That is an excellent sign. I passed through a few closing ceremonies, as you can imagine, but this is a clear sign for me. There are many participants who are in it for the long run, and that's much appreciated. Let me also thank again, it has already been said, but let me thank again to CARSIS Portugal for your generous contribution, to the ILO headquarters, but also the ILO Portugal office for your interventions and for your support throughout the planning and delivery process. Let me also thank to UNDP that has contributed to this academy. Let me thank to all the ITC ILO team. This is my kind of clapping on our own shoulders, but let me just tap on Martin's shoulders just to say that, again, very professionally and very well done. You see where I sit as director training, I usually only get details about an activity if there's a problem, because then when the alarm bells ring, then I get involved, and there has been no alarm bell. And bearing in mind there were 800 applicants and 300 participants, and more than 80 different resource persons from 83 countries represented, I have to say, it's actually, in a way, it's a miracle, and another miracle made to come by Martin Linder and the EMLD team. So much appreciated. And last but not least, also to thank ILO PARDEF and also our South-South and Trilingual collaboration desk, because as I say, there are many people who have contributed to this financially, technically. So I'm not forgetting our friends and faithful sponsors and supporters for many years. That's it. Martin, back to you. There's a long list of individuals to thank. Martin gave me the list and I played it back to him, and I said, like, I wouldn't do justice to this because some of the people I haven't even met personally. So Martin, this is going to be the honors of the Master of Protocol. That will be you. Back to you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much also for giving me this this role. Yeah, Andreas, of those of you who know Andreas, he has always he's interested in different topics, but what he always tries to do is to see what is going to happen in the future. So, and here he did it as well. He tries already to see what is going to happen in the social and solidarity economy in the future. Let's see. We are. This is a question that we are going to bounce back soon to you participants as well. Now, the real official part of this closing is over. What I wanted to convey at this point is one important thing: the evaluation. So, starting from today, in the eCampus, you can go to see. There's a place where you will find a link on the evaluation. Please fill in this evaluation, because for us it is very, very important to know what we can do better, what we can improve in future academies, online or maybe also face-to-face. If you don't want to fill in the evaluation, then I'm sorry to say you will not be able to download the certificate, okay? So we have this platform that gives us this possibility to condition the certificate to the filling in the evaluation. This is how it goes now. This is just because we are really keen to have your views. So how does this happen? You fill in the evaluation form, then you're going to be going to the next step where we are going to ask you, asking you what you think is going to be an interesting topic for the next academy. Okay, so let's see if you are going to the same direction as Andreas. And after that, you are going to be able to download a nice online certificate. This online certificate can also be then shared in the different social media. I think this is nowadays a really great opportunity also for all of you. I'm being told that there might be a time lag between the moment you are going to fill in, you're going to say what you think is going to be should be the next topic for the next academy, and the moment when you get the certificate, okay? But don't worry, this is going to work out. So now some further elements before we are really closing the whole shop here. We do have a quiz for all of you, and I think the quiz is gonna show up soon in my back here. Let me see if this is gonna work. Okay, yeah, so let me see if you have been listening well enough to our, the people who have been talking before me. You are going to get a link to vote on this in the chat box. You know how it works. You have done this before, so please go ahead. Okay, I'm seeing some people already voting. Go ahead. So how many people have been, or how many countries have been in this academy during the last 2 weeks? Representatives of different countries, okay. Well, I'm seeing that in this competition there is likely to be one winner. Okay. Well, I think we don't have to wait for many more votes. Some people are also trying to influence the vote here with the chat box. Not sure if this is what we're thinking of. Okay, great. I think we can stop this one. 83 countries, yes, you did it. Most of you have been actively listening, even the last day of the academy. So next quiz. Let's see if it comes up. Okay, this one is how many experts, number of experts that have been in one way or another presenting, sharing their experience within this academy, yeah? More than 30, more than 50, or more than 80? Okay, we are almost there. Okay, I can see that most of you are still okay in terms of capacity of concentrating. So yes, the winner is more than 80. Okay, fine. Now there is another, we're gonna move on to another question. Let me see if it's gonna come up. Just one more second. Okay. So there is a question that not many of you may know, but who participated in all editions of this academy? You know that there are 12 of them, 12 editions. So we have Guy Ryder, who is the Director General of the ILO. There is Roberto Di Meglio. You met him throughout this academy working at ILO Geneva. There is Valentina Verde, also working ILO Geneva on social and solidarity economy. There is Martin, that's me actually, okay? So, yeah, okay, only 21% of people think that I have been there, yeah. I think also here many people are quite okay. Okay, somebody's trying to influence again the voters with the chat box. Well, okay, I think we are there. We have, for this quiz here, we have tried to find some sources, some background information. Who is really the one that has been participating in all editions, and now we are going to show you if you did the right, if you made the right choice, if you voted right. Let's see the answer with the next video. Okay, okay, now we know it, who it was. We really found a picture of Roberto Di Meglio all over the place, in all the academies. You saw that he's just everywhere. Why are we doing this? Because Roberto, yeah, he has been in all 12 academies, that is true, but this is also, let's say, his last academy as ILO official. He's unfortunately leaving the ILO in February next year, and we wanted just to celebrate him a little bit, because frankly, without Roberto, we would not have 12 academies. Probably we would not even have one of these academies. And they were really important, I think, for many people all over the place. When we started in the beginning, it was not 800 applicants, but it was very difficult even to find applicants, frankly. So just imagine what a development all this was. And this is part also, and thanks to Roberto's capacity of creating networks, of pushing the agenda of the social and solidarity economy within the ILO, but also and foremost outside. So I think Roberto now needs to come this way. Okay. And I will leave him the space, and this is a bit of a surprise for him. So Roberto, now you need to go for an official speech.
This is difficult. I'm going to speak in Spanish. It's easy for me. No esperaba esta celebración. No sé si he ganado un premio con esta 12 años. estoy muy contento de esta academia. Sin embargo, debo decir que me hubiera gustado mucho más ir a Lisboa y estar en Portugal, visitar la ciudad, el país. Así que el año próximo, que voy a tener más tiempo, voy a ir a Portugal, a Lisboa, y a visitar. Quizá voy a pasar a visitar a Mafalda en la oficina, con muchas expectativas. Y qué decir, 12 academias en 12 años, nunca hubiera dicho que iba a pasar esto. Ha sido una experiencia muy interesante. Yo creo que ha sido interesante y útil. Creo que hemos contribuido a muchas cosas en los países, en la propia OIT, y espero que, como dijo Andreas antes, realmente esta economía social y solidaria ayude un poco a transformar, ¿no?, esta sociedad con una otra economía más atenta al ambiente, a las personas. Creo que esto es parte del DNA de la OIT, y confiamos mucho que en la próxima ILC de junio de 2022, en la cual no voy a estar, en la discusión general ayude a progresar más y a contribuir a esa transformación para un mundo mejor, que creo la pandemia, diría yo, ha puesto en evidencia como una necesidad urgente, ¿no? Hay que pasar de la teoría a la práctica, y creo que la economía social y solidaria no es la solución para todos, eso sin duda, pero tiene características y potencialidad para ser una herramienta potente para una transformación hacia un mundo mejor. Yo ya estoy muy emocionado, no sé qué decir más, me han tomado de sorpresa con este speech. Me gustaría agradecer a todos, no es posible, pero realmente ha sido un camino largo, y desde la primera que hicimos aquí en Turín también, hemos ido a Marruecos, hemos ido a Sudáfrica, hemos ido a México, a Costa Rica, a Corea, hemos ido a Cabo Verde, no. Hemos ido a muchos lugares, y espero que se continúe con esto. Yo, después de escuchar las palabras del director de formación del Centro de Turín, confío que van a seguir con este proyecto, ¿no? Y que la economía social y solidaria pueda ser una oportunidad más para la gran cantidad de personas que necesitan tener opciones y posibilidades. Muchísimas gracias.
Okay, thank you so much, Roberto. Yeah, he's not bad in improvising. After all, this was really a kind of surprise, at least until we gave him the microphone. So I think after so many years, you have been learning how to improvise. That's great. Yeah, I have a long list of people whom to thank. It is very difficult. Some of them have already been mentioned, so I try to take them off. I think, yeah, many, apart from Carla Ventura, there was Filippa and Katia, who have been with us all the time in the preparation, really, really important. There are key, there's a whole stuff of, let's say, the logistical part behind it is Cristiana, Stefania, and all the team around them. There are really many of them. Some of our colleagues have been as facilitators in the different electives. We have technicians, yeah, just to name Paolo, Marta, Angelo, Andrea. You know, in this setting here now, we need technicians very, very importantly, because otherwise it wouldn't work. So thank you very much for helping us making everything work, and then also to solve problems when they are there. And last but not least, we have the interpreters. It's such a huge amount of interpreters. I just can name those who have been in our plenaries and that are now interpreting me simultaneously: Caterina, Maria Paula, Ludwig, Joaquin, Victoria, Mariolina, Beatrice, Francesca. I hope I said them all. And yeah, thanks so much, because with 4 languages without interpretation is just so key. Yeah, I think at this point it is over, unless I forgot something, and this is the last chance for everybody that sees me to tell me that I forgot something. No, I didn't. So unfortunately, we cannot now meet each other, or say be in the same class, hug each other. This is what we would usually do after the last, or let's say after the closing. Sometimes we created this last nice moment where we would hand certificates, the wrong certificates, to the wrong people, and then they would have to find the right person for the certificate. This would be another last emotional moment. Unfortunately, this is not possible, but I hope this academy will still be, and I'm sure in your memories of one of the academies where you met people, where you learned a lot, where you saw many things, and where you are left with the wish not only to go to Portugal, but to join us in the next academy. So that's it. I'm going to stop now. Thanks to everybody again for your participation, for your engagement, for everything that you did to contribute to the quality of this event. Goodbye. Au revoir. Arrivederci. In Portuguese, give me a hand.
Ciao. It's enough.
Ciao. Ciao. Ah, ciao.
Ciao.
Okay.
Ciao.
Okay.
Até breve.
Ciao, like
Até
in Italy.
breve.
Ciao.
Até breve. Até breve.
Okay. Okay, and here we have what is an outcome, the Academy in one word. So this is one of those word clouds that we send out to you, just asking what you think in one word about this Academy. You can keep on writing this. Thank you so much. Let's see what comes out of this. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Ciao, goodbye.